Yeah, they won that game. They pulled all their starters, and they still won.
That's wild.
And the NBA fined them $500K. It's not. I mean, the Spurs started it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying the Jazz started it. I'm just saying they,
The Jazz just saw what
I
they
know
did.
it's for like lottery, right? It's so that they improve their chances in the lottery draft.
Yes. Which,
but like
the Jazz
if
have
they've been bad for
historically
4
bad luck.
years,
Yeah, I mean, the Jazz were in the best position to get the number one pick last year and ended up with, I can't remember what it was, 4 or 7? Or
5.
something?
It was 5.
5?
5.
Okay.
They had the worst record in the league by themselves by a game and still ended up 5th. And I'm sorry, but you will never convince me that the NBA didn't rig that for the Mavericks. You can't. Can't, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm crazy, conspiracy theorist, whatever. Try. But like the thing is like you have the Mavericks make that big a stupid thing, Dallas fans are going berserk. Nobody cares about the Jazz.
I don't know what happened, dude. I haven't watched an NBA game in probably 15.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the game. So Dallas had Luka Doncic on the team, right? Mm-hmm. And he made the Mavericks at least competitive. And he'd taken them to the finals, twice in his career there?
At least.
Yeah.
And so they had won. Yep. So last year, in the middle of the season, the GM trades Luka Doncic to the Lakers for
Anthony
Davis,
Magic,
and like a couple of draft picks and stuff. Like it was a horrible trade, and literally everybody just lit this GM on fire, and they were going after it, and they were pissed at the end. Yeah, he is now. And they were pissed at the NBA.
From the Mavericks?
Yeah, he's fired from the Mavericks. It took until this year, though. I mean, they kept him into this season. Like, this season had started before they fired him. It was weird. And so, Cooper Flagg, who was and is currently the leader in the clubhouse for Rookie of the Year, was like the number one presumed draft pick and everything. And he was like 2 steps above even the next guy. And so here the Utah Jazz are thinking, we've got the worst record in the league. The lotto thing happens, and they end up with the 5th pick. And the Mavericks got it. And even though the percentages of who would get the possible top pick all weighed heavily in the Jazz's favor, even though they still weren't as high as I was thinking they should be, they were the highest, possible, to get the number one draft pick, and it went to the Mavericks, and they got 5th. It was just brutal. I mean, it was, and I know I haven't watched an NBA game in probably 5 years.
Why would they rig it for Dallas? That doesn't make sense.
Just to replace because they screwed up, and Dallas is a bigger market, a more important market to them. So to piss off every Dallas Maverick fan on the planet, by having this trade happen, they were like, well, let's fix it. And, so you give it to Dallas, and Cooper Flagg comes in, and Dallas remains at least mildly competitive while they build around this really talented kid.
The problem with the conspiracy theories with the NBA is that the Spurs, it's all around the Spurs are one of the smallest markets in the entire NBA, and yet they absolutely dominated the NBA for years. Then they got the number one pick with Wemby. I mean, they shouldn't have gotten. I don't think they should have gotten the number one pick that year. But
no, I don't think they should have.
It doesn't really. I don't know.
Okay, in terms of the TV market and stuff, like the Spurs specifically versus, say, another one, I get it. But the problem is, it's not so much to me an overall TV market. It's that literally the NBA doesn't give a flip about the Jazz. Like, if you had to ask me if the NBA was going to do anything for any team in the league, the Jazz would be the bottom team every time. So it's not so much per se about a conspiracy that it's
a conspiracy against the Jazz, not
it's and it's not even necessarily like, ooh, let's screw the Jazz. It's more like, we don't care. Nobody's going to care if the Jazz get screwed. So if it's convenient for us and they get 5th, who cares? Nobody in the league or any fan anywhere other than Utah Jazz fans are going to care if the Jazz end up picking 5th when they should have picked 1st. So if it's convenient to let 4 other teams in front of them, fine. Like, who cares? Nobody's going to say a thing.
Why do you think it's to the Jazz specifically?
Because it goes back, in my mind, it just goes back years and years ago to when, Karl Malone, John Stockton, people would go to Utah, and people, like, all the players would come out and be like, I hate coming to Utah. Like, it sucks. There's no nightlife here or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not going. Yeah.
Yeah, or they don't want to go play for the Jazz, and especially as they lost Malone and Stockton, and the team just sort of like, it was still competitive for a while based on a few things. What's that?
Is it because of Utah's culture? Because,
a lot of it
Utah
was.
Jazz fans are not, they're not like fair weather fans.
No.
Culture it's not the fandom.
No, it's not the fandom culture.
It's the lifestyle.
It's the state lifestyle. Exactly.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. And that is just continuing, even though, like, I think you can make an argument that Utah in and of itself isn't what it was 25, 30 years ago when Stockton to Malone was the big thing. Now, like, it's more like a regular, like Salt Lake City itself is more like regular American cities.
Yeah.
I mean, even the population of Salt Lake is now like Mormons aren't a majority in Salt Lake City itself.
I know. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to bring religion into it. I'm just saying,
there's still like less than 10% African American population. There's no nightlife, quote unquote, like you would get in somewhere like. I mean, look at the Hawks. Atlanta is freaking celebrating. They're having a night. I read this on ESPN. They're having a night to celebrate Magic City.
What's that mean?
It's their biggest strip club in Atlanta. It's a Magic City night for the Atlanta Hawks, and the NBA is okay with this.
Magic City paid for it.
Sure, but who's going to pay for it?
Could you imagine this happening with with the NFL or MLB?
The NFL wouldn't touch it with a 1,000-foot stick.
Are you crazy?
Are
you crazy? It's dedicated to the classic, the way the guy explained it, and it's because the majority owner of the Hawks, I guess, owns Magic City or did a big documentary on it or something or whatever. Adam Silver, what are you doing, dude? How are you okay? Do you know how many especially young African American men look up to, like, attend those games, look up to these players? It's like you're celebrating the culture of a freaking disgusting strip. I'm like, what?
Oppression.
What's going on here? Like, it's just, yes. I don't know. Anyway, that kind of thing is
the owner who owns both of them. One of them's probably struggling. Magic City might be struggling. And so he's like, this will be a great promotion. Like,
I don't think it's
well, NBA teams aren't struggling. Like, they're doing fine.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a way to like help, like, both
advertise for
companies at the same time. Yes, but, like, I don't know. Adam Silver disgusts me, honestly. He's pathetic, but
I don't know.
It's
okay. We better start this because I'm going to drop out any second.
Hey, you got here. I thought you were really smart to get on and then go do other stuff for a while. I thought that was genius. So
yeah, it only took me a year to figure, train.
So, all right, well,
if it does drop out, then I think it means there's something with I'm just saying, if it happens, I think it might be with something that you do after it starts the podcast. I don't know.
It's definitely Aaron's fault, whatever it is.
No, I'm just saying, it might be something with triggering the recording of it, but I don't know.
Well, when you came in, like, I immediately hit the echo cancellation button like you're supposed to once you get in the room. And you didn't drop off after that, but I've wondered if hitting that when you've come on sometimes has not led to it, but...
Okay, well...
Anyway. So, all right, well, welcome to episode 3, season 2 of Brothers Trippin. We've already kind of started with an interesting, little side conversation about the NBA there, and this whole show, we were kind of planning on talking about, being a sports fan right now. So that kind of, will lead us into this. So the idea for the show kind of came because Josh is feeling a little melancholy about sports. No, I just mean, or existential, maybe more existential.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe that's a better word for it.
I guess.
Or maybe you're just maturing.
And
that can't be it.
I'm definitely not. So,
that's not it.
That has nothing to do with it. And how dare you?
So anyway, I thought we could kind of get into that. The original thought I figured was like to get to kind of where Josh has been at the last couple of days. I thought it would be interesting to kind of go over how we all felt we became fans, and we can do it with, several teams if we want, but I was thinking more specifically just with, our Nebraska fandom and, how we became fans. And then we can kind of talk about, how over the years things have kind of evolved to where we're at now, because that's where I think Josh's frustration is how things have been for, I don't know, the last 25 years. So
give or take.
I totally get where he's coming from. So in any case, if anybody wants to lead off kind of, or I can kind of, give my little story that I talk about when people ask me how I became a Nebraska fan, I can start off with that, and then you guys can maybe jump in with yours, or we can go from there. If one of you guys wants to go first, I'm good with that too. So what do you think?
Well, I got my fandom from you, Aaron. I mean,
yeah.
It's clear. Like, there was a question in your agenda. Did you choose your team, or did the team choose you? And like, the team chose me. I mean, the same with the Cubs and White Sox growing up. Like, that's, if Grandma and Grandpa watched somebody else, that's who I would have been fans of because of them. And so I would trace Nebraska fandom back to you and your, let's just say, I'm not going to use
fanaticism,
your
obsession,
antagonistic,
or unhealthy obsession.
Clinical.
Yeah, there was a very strong emotional connection. Yep, for many years growing up. Clinical, clinical's good, but yeah, that's where mine came from.
But it's really a love based in spite, is it not?
To some degree, yeah.
That's what I think is the funniest thing about this.
I know, right?
Freaking history.
Well,
we're
so
all friends because Aaron was was just to spite Iowa fans.
Which is why it's frustrating right now that we can't, get Husker fans to hate Iowa fans.
Is that okay? How old were you, Aaron? How old were we when we moved to Lincoln?
Was when you moved to Iowa.
Yeah, well, we were only in Lincoln for a year. So we were in Lincoln for my second grade year, and then moved to Iowa when I got into third grade, which is what, let's see, 5, 6, 8. I was 8.
Nature started that young.
So
already jaded by third grade.
We were 8. So here's what happened. Like,
maybe this is the real story. Why were you so jaded with Iowa?
Unsolved mysteries.
We moved to Lincoln, Nebraska for about a year. We moved from Illinois to Nebraska. Dad, during that time, ended up back in Illinois for the majority of the time we lived in Nebraska. Okay, he was back at where his main location for the company he worked for, breaking a strike. And he was back there for probably 9 of the 12 months that we were in Nebraska.
Wait, he was breaking a strike?
Yes.
What is that called? Teamsters? Was he a
no,
Teamster?
No, because Teamsters are unions, so he would have been like working because the union guys weren't.
He was a union buster.
Well, he was management for the company, so he had to. He wasn't in the union because he wasn't one of those guys, but in order to keep the company going, because he was management, they brought him back. And then while all the stuff was going on with the union guys on strike, he was working, doing their jobs for the company. Then he gets back to Nebraska after being in Illinois, doing what they asked him to do away from his family, and they let him go at his plant in Nebraska because the guy who ran the plant wanted to put his brother in Dad's position. So Dad got fired because the guy wanted to hire his brother and did, and replace Dad with it.
Man, speaking of like the irony of the value of a union.
Right?
It's just...
Yeah.
Remember there was an example of why a union is helpful.
Right? Yeah.
I'm not laughing at him because that is terrible in anybody in that position, but like that's when Dad started working for Tandy Leather, running the store in Lincoln. Okay.
And then they moved him, Tandy Leather moved him to a store in Iowa. So that's why after 12 months we left Nebraska. Or I guess it was closer to 15 months because we moved in at the very beginning of the summer, and then we spent the summer school year, and then it was the end of the summer the following year. So it was about 15 months we were in Lincoln. When we moved to Iowa, as far as fandom goes, at that point in time, I don't know that I was like that big of a Nebraska fan, but having been there for a year, I had a couple of Nebraska t-shirts, whatever. And I liked football at that point. And so I would wear, my Nebraska t-shirt to school in Iowa, which then got, I kept getting razzed by all the Hawkeye fans. And I'm sorry, but Hawkeye fans back then, you were trash. Anyway, so that was sort of why I kind of started to glom on, because I'm very hard-headed that way. So rather than be like, I don't want to get teased, I'm going to become an Iowa fan and go out and get an Iowa shirt and just do that. I was like, you're going to make fun of me for being a Nebraska fan? I'm going to be a bigger Nebraska fan. And I don't think I figured that out until legit I was in my mid-30s. Because I got into my mid-30s and somebody asked me that question, how'd you become a Nebraska fan? And I went, that's a great question. It took me a lot of digging to go backwards. But that's where it started. And then it got, the longer we lived in Iowa, Andrew and I got older. I got to be 11. He was 9. We got our first paper route. And so we started.
That's what I was going to say.
What's that?
The ripe old age of 11 and 9.
Yes, we were old.
That
so we
old
started
by
our
factory
paper
worker
route.
Standards.
And one of the neighborhoods where we would deliver, it was part of our neighborhood. There was a big circle of townhouses. It was massive.
Didn't we live in that circle?
No, we lived in a different type thing. We lived in a townhouse, only ours was in rows. Theirs was in a circle.
Yeah,
ours was in a row.
We drove back to it when you got out of the Army and we did our trip.
Yeah, we went through there. Yeah.
But that circle there?
Mm-hmm. The Hawkeye was still there.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And we spit on it. Don't you remember this?
Yes. You were with us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was when we headed back to when we were going through. Yeah. So anyway,
to make a short story long, go for it.
Right, exactly. To make a short story long. Anyway, we were delivering. That circle would have a big Iowa party, had a big Hawkeye painted in the middle, they did big old thing. And when we tried to deliver or come into the circle while it was going on to talk to some of our friends, we had on some Nebraska gear and they literally kicked us out. So that's when we started. Every time we would deliver newspapers in the morning, especially after the party happened, we would stop and spit on the Hawkeye logo and then move on. And there were plenty of times where we would probably take their newspaper and miss accidentally getting it on the porch, and it might end up in somebody's punch bowl or something that was left out from the party.
Why did we never graffiti that Hawkeye?
That's a great question. Probably because we didn't have access to spray paint, but
we should have when we went back.
Right?
We should have graffitied the living crap out of that thing
with a big red
It's not too late, guys. We can still do it.
So that's where it started, and then it just grew from there for me. Every time I'd go somewhere and move, I would get teased about being a Nebraska fan, which just made me more of a Nebraska fan. And they were good enough at the time that I think it was easy for me to be a fan and not have to, because we didn't ever win less than 9 games, ever.
That would have been the early 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Early 80s.
From Iowa to Utah in 87, right? I think it was 87 because I turned 8 right after we got to Utah, and I was born in 79, so it would have had to have been 87.
Well, I graduated in 91.
It was right around 87 because...
It was 87, 88. It was one of the two.
I was in 8th grade.
So, yeah, because I got there for 9th grade.
So, Josh, does this make you feel different about wearing that Husker t-shirt?
No, I already knew this story.
Oh, you knew it was mostly out of spite?
Well, yeah, I tell everybody that story.
How did I not know this?
Well, when people ask me, I just kind of pieced it together because I remember him telling little snippets of the Iowa fans always drove me nuts in Iowa, and so I was like, oh my gosh, he became a fan out of spite, and I was like, that totally tracks.
It does, but it doesn't explain the spiraling after Nebraska losses for years on end.
Well, actually, I think it kind of does because, I hated, they did well winning, but if you go all year and then you lose to Oklahoma, and it's that's when they would jump on you. So the Hawkeye fans would be all, look at you, team lost. And that happened a lot when I was in Utah, for high school, even the
adults was still trash.
Yes.
They didn't care.
They didn't care. It was just that Nebraska lost.
That was also spite.
Yeah.
You got to fight spite with spite, Andrew. I don't know if you know this.
In Utah, I specifically remember There was so we were at a ward Halloween party. I remember this specifically. And Nebraska was
dressed up as Ewoks.
Yes, it is.
That was in Iowa.
That was, no.
Yes, it was. That was in Iowa. Yes, it was. I remember.
Are you sure?
I'm like 87.
Was it a Halloween party then? Because I'm remembering the story, so the math wouldn't match.
It wasn't the Christmas Ewoks.
Well, no, I know, but the problem is that what I'm remembering is that somebody said that, or was telling me that Nebraska was losing to Oklahoma, and they would not have played over Halloween. They would have been playing over, like, after Thanksgiving.
Huh? Say that again?
What I'm remembering from that experience was being in my Ewok outfit and an adult from the ward telling me that Nebraska was losing to Oklahoma because they knew I was a Nebraska fan.
You're all, huh? It's really hot in here. Can I get some water?
Hey, it cost you very well. Because all we had was a little. Yes, I do. We had a little makeup. We didn't have hoods on. We had a little makeup. We like make-upped our face and then had ears.
You know, and you had the leather. Dad made the leather thing that went over your face, or maybe it just sat on the top of your head. I can't remember.
It wasn't.
I remember
my face was
Someone
exposed because the makeup was on my face, and that part I hated.
I remember because I was R2D2, and I got
yes,
wrapped
I remember
I was so
that.
little, and I got wrapped in that like corrugated, like I don't know what it was, and they were all like Temu Star Wars costumes that were homemade by Dad.
My freaking outfit was PJs. They were Ewok PJs. The pants were like those flimsy brown PJ bottoms, and the shirt said Ewoks on it. That was my Ewoks outfit. Was a head thing and a Ewoks PJs.
Well, that's the only way we were going to know. That is awesome.
Underwears.
I would guess that family costume is still talked about in that ward.
If there's anybody who's still alive from when that was still there.
Lives on, I guarantee you.
Because we were all like Star Wars, weren't we?
I think Steph was Princess Leia.
We were all Star Wars. Steph was Princess Leia.
And
what was
you were R2?
I don't think there was a C-3PO. Dad was Vader.
Dad was Vader, and
was
Mom
Mom?
was Mom.
I don't think Mom was anything.
Yeah, she was.
She got out of it?
Wasn't she Leia?
I don't know. I don't think so. I can't remember.
I thought Steph. I think Steph.
I think all the kids except for you, Josh, were Ewoks. Weren't you an Ewok, Andrew? I think
Luke?
Steph was an Ewok. I think I was an Ewok. You were an Ewok, and then Mom was Leia, and Dad was
Jess would have been
Darth.
like a baby.
Jess wouldn't. I don't think Jess was like really a part of it, but Steph. I think because I have this distinct memory of Stephanie as an Ewok.
I know how we
in the same type of outfit that we had that I had.
Dad on as a guest, guys.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to get much better remembrance.
No, you're definitely not. We like Star Wars.
Well, all right. So
Classic.
that's how.
So that was
Husker
how.
began.
Yeah. So really quickly though, let's take a break for just a second so we can get this sponsor read in here.
Union mandated break, by the way.
Yes. This episode of Brothers Trippin is brought to you by Sarah Bryant Law, PLLC, serving clients throughout central Kentucky. As we talk about the life of a sports fan and how things evolve over time, it's also important to think about planning for your own future. Sarah Bryant helps individuals and families with wills, power of attorney, probate matters, and estate planning. Make sure your wishes are clear and your loved ones are protected. It's not always fun to think about those things, but it's one of the most important ways you can care for your family. If you're in central Kentucky and need guidance you can trust, contact Sarah Bryant Law, PLLC.
Does she practice outside of Kentucky? Because what states does Kentucky have reciprocity with?
There's a few. I think Tennessee's one, right? Tennessee reciprocity. Yeah, the surrounding states that like touch.
But is that automatic reciprocity, or she got to like apply for it?
It's automatic, right? Like you don't have to apply for anything or anything.
I think.
Okay, so you have to apply and be admitted to the bar.
Yeah.
But you don't have to retake it. So
you got some work in mind for her, Josh, or like what?
Nope, I was just curious in case we've got tens of listeners that they might wonder.
I mean,
I
hear
we're essentially concentrated to Kentucky and Utah.
I hear we're
I don't even have any
popular in Elkhorn, Indiana. So, you never know.
What's
just a random city that I could remember in Indiana.
I don't remember any cities in Indiana.
Or Jeffersonville, something like that.
What did we drive through? Where did we drive through that got to
Purdue? The Purdue.
Where's Purdue?
Purdue's in West Lafayette.
That's right.
Yep.
That was a beautiful green, lush.
Oh, I know. And it was random, right? Like you get off the freeway and it's like Midwest farmland. And then about a mile down the road, you're all of a sudden in some very nice foresty area and everything. That was pretty cool. I have to admit, it surprised me. So that was pretty cool.
You are not easily surprised.
I am not, apparently.
I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that.
All right, so back to this little journey that we're on to get to our existential question. So we went through all those years, so we became fans. And I don't know, like, if we want to just hold with, because, like, Andrew, you pointed out that our fandom with the Cubs, like, you're right. I would not be who I was without the fact that Grandma and Grandpa always had the Cubs games on. And then
it was really
we're really cool. Yeah, it really was Grandma. But I always thought it was nice of her to, like, be cool with the fact that I liked Carlton Fisk. And I think that's the only reason I ever rooted for the White Sox was because of Carlton Fisk. I didn't know him at all during his Boston years. So, like, I only knew him as a White Sox player. And so she did that. But, like, the Cubs were always the number one team. Like if they were on WGN, they were on, And some of my favorite memories from being a child, were when we were at Grandma and Grandpa's house. And I just loved sitting there and we would play Yahtzee while we were listening to the game, like 6-lane Yahtzee, and stuff.
Triple E.
Or they would just sit. What I remember most is just them sitting out under the overhang of the garage with their game on the radio while we were all like on Big Wheels and the Big Green Monster or the Green Machine. I mean, and
the Green Machine,
the
yes,
fireflies,
lighting
up around and getting bit by mosquitoes.
Yeah. So like without them, and it's funny because there's even like the influence of where you get your fandom from is interesting because I still have a little bit of a soft spot, even though I shouldn't, because I didn't understand as a kid that if you were a Cardinal fan, you weren't supposed to like the Cubs and vice versa, because we had family in St. Louis too. And some of my earliest baseball memories are, like the 82 Cardinals World Series, and Mom loved watching Ozzie Smith come run out of the dugout and do his little flip, and stuff on the way to second base. And so there's a little bit of me. It's not much at this point, given that I'm 52 and haven't really spent much time rooting for the Cardinals. But there was a little bit of influence with that.
What about the White Sox? Is there any remnant of the White Sox left in your soul, or was
there's really not? That one,
the big hurt.
I think, what's weird is I think the White Sox are paying for, with me personally, they're paying for, like the fact that Major League Baseball stopped that season in 95, I think it was, in the middle, and there was no World Series and there was nothing. And the White Sox were in first place. And I was so pissed that I did not watch a single full game of baseball between 95 when that strike started all the way to the year prior to the Cubs winning the World Series. That year prior, I started to watch baseball again.
2015?
Yes. So I went 20 years without watching a game.
Wow.
It was 95, right? This. Like that strike was 95, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Or was it 2005? I don't know. It was a strike where the White Sox were, in first place, and a lot of people expected them to win the World Series, and they were looking really good. And the MLB's like, nope. Or the players in the MLB were like, nope, we're going on strike. Stops the middle of the season. And I was just pissed. I was like...
Yeah, it was 94, 95.
Yeah. Like, I was mad. And I was like, I ain't watching baseball again. And I literally went until, the year, they won it in 2016, right?
Yeah, the Cubs.
The Cubs. And then they had a pretty solid season in 2015, right?
Yeah, that was...
Well, wait, when was the Bartman thing?
Well, that was clear back in 2009.
Okay, so I did watch some during the Bartman thing because I was watching that game. I have to admit, like when the Cubs had that year, I was watching a little bit. I didn't watch a ton of regular season.
Whoa, I was way off. 2003. I went to a game that season. Wait,
nice.
What? That can't be right. When did Heidi and I get married? Nope, we got married in 2005. Oh crap! Don't let her watch this. Nope, it was later. It was whatever was supposed to be the 100 years. Was that 200009?
Yeah, because it was 1908 when they last won the World Series.
Like we went to a game. So, Alfonso Soriano was on the team. Zambrano pitched the game. It was so freaking cold.
Yeah, I remember you talking about
they
that.
Won.
Yeah.
They won 1-0 in like 10 or 11 innings because of a bloop single by Soriano.
Yeah, so like that year when the thing happened with Bartman, I was watching that game, and I remember watching a few games, but then after the Bartman thing, I got pissed again. I was like, dang it, and like quit. Which may speak to what Josh is feeling right now a little bit. Like different reasons, but you get tired of it. You're like try to be a fan, and you just feel like you get kicked in your junk
what
or
are
something.
You feeling?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's like there are other things that I want to explore about myself and my interests, and I just feel like I don't know. I've just.
I mean, are you talking about like learning guitar or something? Like, give me an idea of what you're thinking.
Got me a not gift certificate, a 4-lesson trial period last year for guitar lessons. It did not go well. Even on like a wide neck guitar, my fingers were either too fat or too uncoordinated to where I could not even get the fingerings right. Playing the guitar is so freaking hard, and it only took 4 lessons for me to realize I'm not that serious about this. And
so and how does that?
So then, what is
sports?
It doesn't. You just asked about playing guitar. I don't know, dude. I
didn't.
Well, somebody did. Aaron
did.
Had to be one of the two of you, unless I'm hearing things again. I don't know. It just feels like it's boring to me for right now. Like, I'm tired. I don't care about spring football. I don't care about, like, spring football as a whole now. I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just at this age where I'm like, I just question a lot more stuff. I don't accept things now, like, because they've always been. You know what I mean? And that really has nothing to do with this either. I don't know. There are times when I just want to talk about other stuff. Like I get tired of nonstop sports, and I just don't find it that fulfilling anymore. But I've been that way for years and years and years. I mean, I'm talking like pretty much my whole life. Like I'm not just a true what's the word? Purist. I'm not a purist. Like I follow my teams, and that's pretty much it. And I don't really care what else is happening. The way you guys know about like what's gone on with the NBA in Atlanta, like I just don't. It just doesn't interest me that much. It doesn't hold any interest in sports in general. I love playing them, and I always have. But like basketball, I haven't watched a basketball game, college or pro, in probably 20 years. It's not that interesting to me. I think basketball is one of the more boring sports to watch, even though I say that as a baseball fan. I just find it like, I don't know, like with basketball, it just seems like one failure after another as a team, because I don't know how else to explain this other than basketball just comes off as like, who can outlast the other, because you're both screwing up at the other end of the court almost every possession. You know what I mean? Like when you have games that end, I don't know, football, you can shut out the other team. You can play like a perfect game in these other sports, but basketball, you're still failing at least half of the time because you don't ever shut anybody out. You can't it's just who fails less in my mind in basketball. That probably doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So I don't know. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. Like I've had a hard time listening to the commentary for Nebraska, like since spring training or spring football, spring practice started. It's just not as interesting. It's the same crap every year, the same dumb analysis of like, oh, I really am excited to see these 5 guys I think are, maybe underrated or not talked about that much, or this is the position group that I'm most interested to see what's going to happen with it, blah blah blah. It's like, who the F cares? Like it's all just
you finally became a jaded Husker fan.
Well, I think part of it is like, 1, it's a little bit that. 2, it's that there's this huge machine working around sports that has nothing to do with sports, but is designed to manipulate you and draw you in so that all you care about is sports. Does that make sense?
Entertainment industry, marketing.
Well, yes,
I mean,
yes,
that's been
all of
around
that
for
stuff. Well, I know, but like I finally like
years.
care about it, I guess, and like I don't know. So it just really comes down to like, and even during the year, there were good games that I watch, and I'm not gonna like stop watching Nebraska football, right? Like that's not what I'm talking about. I think it's more of just like I don't know. I guess I think of it a little bit more in terms of the podcast itself, where it's like let's find other stuff to talk about because I just don't have the level of detail or interest in the level of detail that you guys have, and so like I don't I have opinions, but they're not that useful and they're not well educated on a lot of the topics. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's a lot of rambling to say that I don't really know what the answer is.
Well, so let me ask you a couple of questions or make a note of something. So first off, I had been thinking of a completely different kind of topic for like this pod and stuff like that based on, but I thought your how you were reacting to stuff was really interesting, and I thought that would be an interesting conversation because I actually don't think you're that far off. I think there's way more fans out there who fan like you do than I do. I think there's way more fans that find their team and that's what they're interested in and that's all they pay attention to, and then they don't care about the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like if I had to say numbers, I would say it's like 60-40. Like honestly. You know, there's very few fans who I think take in sports as a whole along with rooting for their teams. And that 40% of people all work for ESPN. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and so like, I don't think you're that crazy to feel that way at all. I do think that like, for me, I just like watching people compete. Like, I don't usually turn on basketball, and in particular, college basketball hasn't really appealed to me much for a long time, you know, because, you know, but I've actually been getting more into it since I got here because this state is basketball bonkers. Yeah. Like it's nuts for basketball. Mm-hmm. And so like the fact that you can literally stop and talk to anybody about either UK or U of L and get very strong opinions and everything else, and that a lot of fans here know more about the sport in terms of overall basketball than just their team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, so it's grown on me a little bit here, you know, and I've been now like, you know, I've been to both a UK game and U of L game, you know, in their arenas and stuff. So, you know, I've been able to see that. And UK, especially for me to go to Rupp was, you know, I mean, it was interesting and I really wanted to go because Kentucky is in basketball what Nebraska is in football. You know, they're one of those top 5 all-time teams. You know, mm-hmm. Kentucky has national championships. It has tons of All-Americans. It has, you know, and it's funny because in football, Kentucky is what Nebraska basketball has always been. You know, they've been average at best, you know. And so it's really interesting, the juxtaposition. And so it was cool for me to be able to go to Rupp and catch a few games and stuff. But I just, you know, in terms of how you're feeling, like, I don't think it's that crazy for you to feel in the off season, like all the minutia that goes around it. Like, I love the fact that the you know, combine's going on right now. I'm fascinated about what's going to be coming up in terms of like, you know, the free agent period starting here in a week or so. You know, that's going to fascinate me, and I pay attention to all that. And I've already started reading the list of like top 150 free agents because I'm curious, and I think about like, especially for my team in particular, but I pay attention to others too. Like Seattle's going to have some decent, you know, money, you know, to be able to re-sign guys or sign, you know, free agents with. But there are some other teams that are just a hot mess and won't be able to sign anybody, you know, like the Colts. Braden's frustrated as heck because they traded away 2 number ones and like they're in, you know, like salary cap, you know, like hell. Purgatory. Because, you know, yeah, purgatory because their roster's really expensive, you know, and stuff, and yet they're not winning. You know, they started off the year winning. He's so frustrated. He's probably right with you right now. Braden is feeling exactly what you're feeling because he's like, I'm not even going to care until they show me something, you know. And so it's interesting. But I find all those off-season things interesting. You know, I'll admit that the Nebraska basketball team this year has gotten me to watch, or at least pay attention to. I've watched like 1.5 games, mostly because I'm worried about jinxing them, and they're playing well enough. I don't want to jinx them, which is stupid, but
it's real.
It's the mind of a fan. And, but it's gotten me to pay attention and like keep up with who's actually really good in basketball. And so like, even if I do nothing else, I pay attention. Like I look and I see scores and I go, oh, that's interesting. Arizona and Houston played, they're both top 4 teams. Like, who did this or, whatever. So I'm different that way, I think, in that for me, it's just about watching, like, and I don't know, did you watch, that was the other question I was going to ask you. Did you watch any of the Olympics?
Yeah, some what I could, yeah.
Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy watching them?
Sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, I did. Part of me wonders this, like, so I did enjoy it, but it's also a little bit manipulated by other people, and it drives me nuts. And I don't mean the circumstance of the games is manipulated. I mean, like, it's used for their own purposes. Like, men's hockey and women's hockey becomes a political issue, right? It drives me freaking crazy because people will use it as, like, a political, not tool, but like,
yeah,
I don't know.
But when you were watching the games, did you feel that in the moment?
No, not as much. But what I was gonna say was, like, part of me wonders, like, why do we put so much stock into these teams and these athletes? I know it's kind of always been this way, right? Like going back to the very first Olympics or back to the Coliseum, whatever. But why? Have you ever thought, like, stop to think, like, existentially about that? Like, why do we put so much stock into something and, like, self-identity into something that we have no control over, or we have no actual part in? They don't know me, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like, I don't even know if that's, I'm just thinking of that, like, while we're sitting here talking. It's just kind of weird, isn't it? Like, sociologically, doesn't that seem kind of bizarre?
I don't think so at all. I think it's because of the tie-in that you have emotionally with either the school or the team itself. Usually that's based on location, or it's because, like what happened with us, except take dad out of it. Usually your dad or parents or grandparents got you into this team. And
yeah, I know, but why?
What do you mean?
I don't know. It just seems so weird. Like, when you really, like, I don't know, because I still do it, like, I'm not saying I don't, and I'm not, like, saying this as in, like, oh, I've become enlightened and I know this no longer has any meaning for me. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird how much we invest into this that ultimately has, like, what feels like very little meaning in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, personally, to me, it's not about the sport. It's about the connection. Sport brings people together. It's what brings us together every year. It's what brought us
within that community.
It allowed us to connect with grandma and grandpa in a way that was emotionally, like, at a cellular level for them. Like, grandma and grandpa are difficult to figure out in a lot of ways. Like, they didn't talk about a lot of things, especially grandpa, but you could sit down and watch a game with him, and it's like, growing up, you and I bonded over the Niners, after Aaron left.
Yeah.
It was like,
that's true.
And it wasn't just then, it started before he left, but, like, it became a point of, emotional connection and camaraderie, but also commiserating, right? Like, you find other people to commiserate with you when they suck because it hurts emotionally, like you wish they did better. And, to me, it's not about really the sport as much as, just the connection that you can form with other people. And, it's just a bridge. And there's a lot of other ways to do that. Sports just is it's one of the few things we have in society where you don't know the ending. It's still possible for David to beat Goliath. And it's not scripted, not supposed to be. Somebody hasn't written out a screenplay. It's not a TV series that's going to take 5 flipping years for you to get to the end of. Or, I don't know, it just feels like there's still, in some cases, even though a lot of it to me is gone, the potential for magic, right? There's still the potential for magic. And I think in a lot of ways that's kind of the only reason why I still enjoy some aspects of it. There's a lot of aspects of it I don't. And things I miss, College basketball, 0 interest, don't care. But I do remember when college basketball was freaking amazing. It was awesome. And March Madness was incredible. Like, one of the best weeks of the year by far was the first week of March Madness, like those 4 days. And it's gone. I just don't care. I can't identify with any players. I have no connection. I don't care about the University of Utah's basketball team. I've never watched men's basketball from Nebraska. Now, there's a lot of people who love it, and that's, great. I mean, they feel that connection. That connection has never bled over into other sports for me, really. I did watch the women's volleyball, a couple games, which happened to be able to work out with the timing, and it was awesome to watch them. They're amazing. I don't know. That's just to me, but it's it's only as much. It's only as valuable as the value you assign to it, right? Like for some people, it's just turn it on in the background and go on with your life, and who cares if they win or lose? I don't know. I think there's something to be said for both sides. The emotional connection. It's feeling the super highs and the lows. That's life. That's part of life is feeling that. And like I said, just sharing that with people. I remember when the Jazz beat the Rockets. God, we lived behind Olympus High School. Paul, Ryan, Greg, and Dave Cheney were over at our house. And when Stockton hit that 3 to send him into the finals for the first time, we ran outside screaming at the top of our. It was bonkers. You couldn't believe the Jazz were going to go to the finals.
Yeah.
And it's of course they Michael Jordan beat them, and the next year it was never the same because it was that one moment was magical. And yes, they went back to the finals again the next year. They freaking swept the Lakers, and they were waiting for a week and a half to play the Bulls, and Jordan beat them again. But getting to the finals again wasn't as fun. It was we expected it because the Jazz were that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think there's magic there to be found in certain places, and it's hard, it's rare. But I think that's kind of the point.
Well, and for me, to that point, I think that's why I just enjoy watching people compete, because I can be watching a game between Central Michigan and Akron on a cold Wednesday night in the middle of November, and to me, it's fascinating if they're telling me a story about this kid who, I'm just making something up, but they're talking about, say, a player on that team who's gone through whatever, and this is his thing. He's gotten this far. All these obstacles happened, and he got to this point where he's a running back for Central Michigan, and he's, and then you watch him, and he busts a big run, and his family's up in the stands, and those stories always resonate with me. So I love that. And it works in other, venues as well. For me, watching, the U.S. women in the gold medal game was phenomenal. And you're right. You're watching because your tribe, your people are, represented by that team. But to watch them, they're down. There's 2 minutes left, and all of a sudden they convert that goal, and it's oh my gosh, how did they do this? And who's the person that scores the goal? It's the 5-time Olympian who's just there again in the right spot, doing the right thing, getting the deflection off of the shot from the top and putting it in the goal. And then you have in overtime just incredibly athletic play of someone who gets a breakaway, and the defender puts themselves in the right spot, and they just manage to slide the puck past them and totally go around them to get a shot over. I mean, that shot was incredible to me. And I was just oh my gosh. And that really resonated with me just because of the individual magic, to use that term, in that moment. That was so cool. And I can see that, for me, even though in that moment it might have meant a little bit more because it was the U.S., had that been flipped, right, and say Canada had done to us what we did to them, and it was a Canadian player, I can still appreciate the magic in that moment for the Canadian players because of what that individual did and the play that was made in that moment. That's what I love about watching sports, period. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some action games that just plain suck. They're bad. You got 18 penalties going on, whatever. But you don't know. I don't know. And it's different. It's not enough for me to on a Wednesday night have to be home for that. It's just that the job I've had for the last 18 years has allowed me to take advantage of it. frankly.
Yeah.
You know, with my changing career, that may not happen as
was
often
a
for me.
sports-related business too.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I've been able to just, like, as I work, I have stuff on TV and I watch the games, you know, like, so that's been something I've been able to enjoy. And certainly, you know, once my career changes and stuff, I'll have to adjust to that. And I probably won't get that magic as much, you know, because I do want to spend time with my significant other. I want to spend time around my kids too and stuff. And so, you know, it may not happen as much. But that's what I love about it, is because there's that, like Andrew's talking about, there's an emotional connection, your community that you identify with, right? Mm-hmm. You know, based on the thing. And then frankly, like what we talked about in terms of where we got our fandom from, you know, I mean, every time the Cubs are on TV, whether I'm actively thinking about it or not, I am back in that living room or back underneath the garage overhang with Grandma and Grandpa. Every time. It doesn't matter what kind of game it is or what we're, you know, like if it's a regular season Cubs game, whatever. I can literally, every time there's a game on, I can hear, you know, Harry Carey in my head. I can hear Harry Carey in my head, you know, no matter who's announcing the game, you know, and I remember those feelings that I had as a kid every time the Cubs are on. You know, and the same goes, you know, with Nebraska stuff. Every time they're on, I'm hoping for the next, oh, look, they don't have him yet, you know, or you know, whatever, just the crazy stories that have happened, you know, Amir Abdullah, you know, keeping us from being truly embarrassed against South Dakota State, you know, and stuff like that's just what works for me, you know. But a lot of the off-season stuff, I can totally see where you're like this is tedious. You know what I'm saying? If you don't enjoy the conversation around NIL and the portal, if you don't enjoy the free agent conversation, if you don't enjoy reading the reports on who the players are and where you think they might be drafted, you know, I get it. Like, I could totally see how you'd be out and not interested in all, you know, at all. Like, you know, for me, I'd love to go to the draft someday. I would love to be able to spend 3 days doing nothing but sitting at the draft, like rooting for, you know.
I thought you already went.
No, I've never been to the draft.
He was in the draft. Just kidding.
No, I didn't get to go when it was in Vegas. I didn't get to go when it was in Vegas.
No, I thought you and in your previous life went to wherever, I don't know. I thought it was in Nashville or something. I don't know. I thought you went a few years ago. Weird.
I've been to the draft.
Dude, that is so weird.
It sounded like you were gonna cry right
I
been to the draft.
No, I haven't been to the draft. I've been to a lot of stuff. I've been to the Pro, like you guys were with me to the Pro Bowl. That was the one cool thing. You know, I got to do it. But I've been to like one real bowl game in my entire time, you know, and that was Boise State and who was it they were playing? Boise State, Oregon. Boise State and Oregon in the Las Vegas Bowl. And that was before they had, you know, the Darth Vacuum, whatever stadium, Allegiant. That was before Allegiant. And it was just at UNLV's really crappy stadium on the far side of town.
I think the difficult part for me is when we start to care more than the people who run sports start to care about the competitive side of things. To me, it's like, if you have an owner of a team that just doesn't care about being competitive, and it's an asset to them, it's a commodity, it's just a status symbol, it's horrible. It's horrible because it
looking at you, Ricketts.
It takes the joy out of, I mean, truly, like, why would we, it's like, I don't know, then it just becomes a business transaction. It becomes a thing.
That's why I
it's
can't figure out, like,
I couldn't handle
Pirates.
Jets,
it's disgusting.
Pirates. The Pirates, the Jets, I couldn't handle being a fan of those franchises.
So
that's exactly where we are right now. I mean, I know,
but not everybody. I mean, there's
not as far as like care and work to make it better. I just mean like
until the Buffalo Bills fans, right?
Feudal results.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the Nebraska thing, I think there's, for a lot of reasons, it's been the most frustrating freaking 15-ish years. Honestly, like right now, it makes me like miss Pelini, you know? And when Pelini was coaching, we were pissed because we were only winning 9 games. And it's like, well, it could be worse. Well, guess what? It got worse.
It got worse.
It got way worse. And
way worse.
You know, we want to find that relevancy again. We want to find that connection. When players are, you know, it's not their identity isn't locked into that team. It's really hard for ours to stay locked into that team, right? Like you just and pro level too. Like they just want the next contract in a lot of ways. So
yeah, honestly, like
that certainly makes it hard. The turnover now is like it's hard to get like attached to anybody. I mean,
exactly, and then the connection gets lost, really and it's
weird,
like, well, then why am I going to sit here and spend my whole Saturday afternoon fretting over whether a team's going to win or lose? It's like, okay,
yeah.
I mean, I got to.
They're going to be gone next year, so who cares?
Yeah.
That's why I feel like I've got to like figure out a way to like put it in its proper place, and I feel like I've started to do better over the last couple of years. But man, there was a stretch there where like several years where they lost a game and it ruined my whole freaking weekend. You know, or my whole friggin' day. And because it's like there's this feeling of like previously, even when they weren't winning championships, but they had guys like Barrett Root or Levante David, like you just expected them to pull out the play that they needed to pull out, especially like on defense and stuff like that. And now it's like you still have that same mindset that that's going to happen, and then it doesn't. And so it's like this cognitive dissonance that exists in my brain of like, hold on, like I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. Like this is not the way that it's supposed to be going, and I can't sort that out in my brain to be like, what's going on here? This is like not the reality that I am understanding I'm supposed to be living in. And so it probably sounds absolutely stupid and ridiculous. But
to be honest, dude, that's kind of how I feel about the coaching situation right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
feel like he is so good pre-game, post-game, off-season. I mean, the dude like exudes this confidence. Like, yes, things are going to turn around and we're going to start kicking people's butts. And it's like, okay, dude. Like, and we saw it with your other teams.
Do you know when? What day?
We saw it with your other teams. Why is this not happening at Nebraska yet? Why are there still some... No, I'm not saying it's not going to. But that dissonance there is kind of starting to get stronger and bigger to the point where it's like, all right, let's just... You know, I don't really like getting into all the pressers and stuff because it's just like I know I'm going to hear what stuff that's like encouraging.
What you want to hear, yeah.
And they suck.
Yeah, you're going to hear what you want to hear.
The pressers don't suck. The questions suck.
Oh yeah, they're terrible.
And it is like they don't even seem to realize it. It's like
no, it's accepted. It's accepted.
Yeah.
Why would you push the boundaries when you don't have to?
I don't even think that the journalists. I don't think
it's not journalism.
No, I know. I'm just saying they are the writers, right?
They're not uncovering some. I know.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
sucking on the teat of NU athletics. Like, I'm sorry. It's just the way
no.
it is.
I know that. I'm just saying, like, when you listen to them get interviewed, because most of those guys who are like the different beat writers, Steve Sipple, Brian Christopherson, Brunts, Mike or
McEwen,
whatever, McEwen. Yeah,
Mitch
like
Sherman.
They don't realize, like they talk about like, oh, I asked that question, or I wanted to know this, and so I asked this question. I'm like, dude, do you honestly think like you're asking good questions? Like, is that what you think? Because we watch this, and I mean, I was a communication major. I've done nothing with it, but I know that that's not a good question to be asking. The way you're asking
it's a leading question.
Yes, almost every single time, and they do not realize that.
Or there's no follow-up questions that have any validity, right, based on the original answer.
Yeah.
So, like in the third quarter there,
that's happening everywhere.
In the third quarter there, when you had that fumble, and everything, you look kind of frustrated that your team. It's like,
how did that feel?
I was frustrated.
How bad did that negatively impact your team? Well, I think you can answer that question.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that, and that part's tough. That's it's hard to handle that. That's funny. You make me laugh.
Hydrate. This is a.
I think yep.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to argue there in terms of like. There's nothing to lean on and say, okay, it's going to be different. You know what I mean? I guess for me, I wonder if like our conversation right now is completely different if he doesn't break his leg and they beat USC and then get one more game in the season. So they're 2 up on what they finished. They're 9 and they would be 9-4. Are we talking about it? Do we feel totally different right now
But
if he doesn't break his leg?
If the bowl game is the same, nope.
Okay, so you would feel exactly the same. Let's say Iowa and the bowl game are exactly the same, but we get Penn State and we get USC because he didn't break his leg.
No,
we got curb stomped by Iowa. We got humiliated.
So you wouldn't feel any different right
team.
now. You wouldn't feel any different right now.
Well,
about where the team is at.
This test somewhere
would
along
I feel
the way,
different if they beat a below 500 Penn State team? No, I would not have been. That was expected, and they got embarrassed in that game too.
Yes.
So,
but I felt like the team kind of had enough in them to help Latif get the UCLA game, knowing that UCLA was trash. So the team had enough in them, but I think that there was a very quick reckoning that they weren't going to, everybody, you could just kind of feel it. The tenor of those last 3 games was just totally different because they didn't have their QB. Honestly, I really felt like that was the difference. And I'm not even, I'm not trying to judge or make Dylan something that he wasn't, but I truly believe that the team finishes the season differently if Dylan doesn't break his leg and you beat USC. I think it's different. I think the fight lasts longer and everything.
That's just it. The ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Sure, but can we blame Rule for that?
Partly.
Okay,
who else
in
am
what
I
way?
Supposed to blame? I don't know. He's the coach. He's supposed to have the backup guy ready to go. I mean, I know that they're the backup for a reason, and I know it's not that simple. But who else
was
are
a
you going to
4-star
blame?
quarterback.
Yeah, I mean he's a good.
Latif wasn't trash.
Quarterback.
No, I don't think so either.
And I expect him to compete for the job.
I do too. But I also think I think some of the problems that they have, and we're starting to see this now. In I don't know if you guys watched the interviews with the new defensive guys, the 2 that are coaching the inside line and outside defensive line.
So Manning and Brown.
And is Brown, yeah. They spoke pretty plainly, and you're starting to hear from other journalists that the way it seems like there's a sort of a prevailing thought now that that defensive line from last year was
misused.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't know what I don't want to say it's not sabotage, but they weren't it wasn't coached well.
Yeah,
apparently.
and they weren't put in positions to win.
That's how it comes off,
yes.
My unknowledgeable opinion, but so it's that kind of crap that just irritates the crap.
Based on what and whose responsibility was it to get him in the right place, and why would?
Well, exactly. That's the coaching staff, and ultimately that's rules.
Right.
And he's a defensive line coach, for crying out loud.
Right.
And so I love Rule. I hope he has success there. I hope that he is the guy because I love everything else about him. But there has not been and they are making very, very slow progress. But it's still progress in the right direction. I just think until there's an actual breakthrough win, it's still going to be the same freaking thing. And Raiola would have gotten his lunch eaten against Utah. I think they would have.
Well, that's why I said if you beat USC and you beat Penn State, that's why I use those 2 games because I don't know that there would have been anything Raiola would have done necessarily.
So then you still end on a pretty kind of note, you know what I mean?
Sure, but you're 9-4. I mean, it's a very different feeling. I think if you're 9-4 versus 7-6. I mean,
sure.
Well,
I was expecting.
Okay,
go ahead,
let's
Andrew.
Let's just say Nebraska was as good as USC and say that was a W. I mean, it never will be. It never will be in the record books a W. But let's say, looking at them, yes, they held USC to their worst game of the season.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Period. Yes.
Agreed.
So, so that being said, forget about the second half then, or the last quarter and a half. If Nebraska was playing them that good, why
did it fall apart?
How do you get blown out? Okay, but how do you get blown out by an average Iowa team?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
how do you
look? The reality is that maybe you shouldn't, and that maybe that's the coaching part. But it's tough when you're dealing with 18 to 20, could be 27-year-olds these days. But when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, right? I think there's something that happens to a team when you have a guy that had that was the guy. Like Dylan was that guy. Like, I'm sorry, he just was with that team. He was the guy, right? So everything sort of revolved around him.
You just mean because he was placed there, not because he was.
How did he not earn it, though? How did he not earn it? Do you know how hard it is to come in as a true freshman and
he
do
was head
what
and shoulders
he did?
above anybody else? He
was legit. Like, I'm sorry, if we want to like rewrite history or something, Dylan was legit.
I'm not trying to rewrite history, but even I think Rule's admitted, and if you listen to Damon Benning, even he talks like.
Yes, I know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
he wasn't. I know what they're talking about. No, he wasn't. But yet he still did what? He led him to 7 wins as a freshman, and he had him in a position where we had 6 wins in that going into that USC game. Would have been 7 right then. UCLA would have been 8. Like, even if the last 3 games suck, he had them at a point where they would have been 8 and 1? 8 and 1 at that point after beating UCLA.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on all of that stuff. I just think.
So if you're a kid who's 18 to 22 and you're riding with that guy and now he's gone, and you may love Latif, you may be like, dude, I'm going to do whatever I can for you, etc. And then you go out and you beat UCLA and it goes great. But now you're looking and all of a sudden Penn State's playing good ball because they've figured things out after it went through, like, literally Penn State to some degree went through the same thing. The early losses are harder to understand to me with Penn State than the later losses, like the last part of that streak. The earlier ones are harder to get. Like, I don't understand. Like, they let the loss to, Oregon in Happy Valley. They let that loss beat them twice. That was their mistake. They were so hyped up to beat Oregon in that game that when they didn't, they let it carry over, and that was on the coaching, and that was on the kids. They have to, that's something you have to do better at. But once it went sideways and those kids lost their head coach and their starting quarterback, the next couple of games, it took them a little while to be like, hey, we're actually pretty good at football. Like, let's actually play like we know what we're doing. And then they were able to finish out the year strong.
So what helped change their mindset?
Because the new quarterback
Nebraska
came in.
Hasn't gotten that.
Well, no, but Nebraska also, if Dylan had gotten hurt 3 games earlier, then you may have seen it different. It may have been different.
Maybe.
I'm not saying it definitely would have. I'm just saying there could have been an adjustment period. But he got hurt with the last, 3 games left in the regular season?
I guess I just mean like over the last 10 years. Like, not within season, but broader picture culturally. Like,
well, listen,
why
I know
hasn't that been able to change?
This is an unpopular opinion, especially probably amongst Husker fans, because I blame Husker fans. There is this cloud that continues to hang over Nebraska fans that is just, it's so heavy. I swear, it's like this black cloud, and like anytime something slightly negative happens, all of Husker Nation just goes, oh my God, we suck. We're going to just, and there is nothing about Husker fans at this point in time that's like pick up your shovels and let's get back to work, boys. Like, there's nothing positive about it ever. Like, and I'm not talking about you two. I'm literally not talking about you two. I'm talking about the message boards.
Fans.
Sure, but I mean, like, I know you guys, but my point is that, like, I'm talking about, like, literally the other day, Sherman writes this. He writes for The Athletic now, right? So Mitch Sherman writes this thing for The Athletic. I read this article, and it's talking about the new defensive coaches, and it's like, hey, maybe there's some positivity to take from how they sounded it, in the thing. And it wasn't even over the top. It wasn't like, oh my God, the Huskers are going to be amazing on the D line because of these two guys. It was simply like, hey, we like the way these two guys sound in their interview, in their pressers. Right? That was literally the tone of the article. I looked at the comment section, not a single positive comment. Not one. Every one of them ripped Sherman for even attempting to claim that there was positive from it. And then they were ripped the coaches and the players, and they're like, well, they all suck anyway. I can't believe we're doing this. We're running it back with these lousy players. I mean, it's so dark. I literally feel like I'm living in some kind of like like I'm living in Dagobah and the fog is like Husker, fans. Just
do you think it's coming from younger fans who haven't seen Nebraska be successful regularly, or do you think it's coming from like our generation?
I think it's coming from our generation. We're the only idiotic generation that leaves comments on online freaking newspaper articles. Young kids don't care about that. They're not even reading that newspaper.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's middle-aged idiots who are just sour about everything.
Yes. I mean, by and large, yeah. Because if I have heard anybody try to be positive, it's usually like the younger kids are like, well, they fought hard, or something like that. They'll and maybe they're not, but they, people who are 30 never experienced the Huskers winning on the regular. And they literally don't know what that's like.
With that comment.
But I think there's a right for some of this as well, because the continual mishirings of coaches, or mishandling, I should say, of the program.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm
beyond
just
frustrating. Now it's easy to be an armchair quarterback. I mean, everybody does it, but so it's that stuff. The comments like, give us something to be proud of. Give us something to be.
I don't disagree, but I think the problem is more than just the football program. I mean, I don't know, like I haven't read any of it, but I'm getting a strong sense of what's his name, who was the AD for a little while, who just released his book.
Bill Moose.
Moose, yeah. Like from what he's saying, he's like, this thing was like the University of Nebraska has been a mess from the top down. And we're not talking about the athletic department top down. We're talking like the whoever's running the university, it's been a mess. The chancellors, the people who are right under him, like they've been messing up those hires for a while, which then in turn translate into messing up other hires. And I think there's people who have just had to spend a lot of time cleaning that up before we're going to get alignment, from the top down.
But you're the AD, so are you saying you're not getting support from the top?
Yeah. And that they're hiring the wrong ADs. Like Eichhorst was horrible. What a terrible choice.
Clearly.
Peterson, what was his name? Peterson. Peterson. He was terrible. Like, but who makes those hires? The head coaches don't make those hires.
So Moose is saying I was a terrible hire.
Who?
Moose. Did he indict himself? He was the AD.
He's saying I was
he's saying that when he got hired, he was dealing with problems coming from above him. That's what he's saying in the book.
Like what? Because
like they're not in alignment to support the program.
They initiated the biggest reconstruction, addition to that campus and stadium in history.
I haven't read the book,
Come
so
on,
I don't
Aaron.
know 100% what he said. All I'm saying is that, and he's not the first person that I've heard it from. Like when Perlman was the chancellor, when they hired Eichhorst, when they hired Pedersen, like all the leadership that was above them was horrible.
Bad hires. Yeah.
And then it all goes like, wasn't it Eichhorst that hired?
Wasn't a good hire.
But Moose seemed to be kind of that senior figure where it's like, okay, now we've got somebody who can actually take their experience
and then he ran.
Exactly. And I wonder
why would you leave? If you pull that off, like what you talk about, why would you leave?
Same with Trev Alberts.
Because Scott Frost crapped the bed.
Well, and he said he was forced to hire him.
So bad.
In the book, he said he was forced to
that was
hire
going to be my
Frost.
next question.
And he said he interviewed Frost in the hotel and knew he wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to hire him.
He didn't say he was forced by the people above him. He said he couldn't risk being the guy who didn't hire him and have him go on.
Okay, so where does that come from then? That goes back and supports exactly what I'm saying.
Yes,
where does that come from?
Sure, but
it comes from the fans.
We all jumped on that train. Our parents. We all jumped on that train.
Yeah,
of course we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was stupid.
But the Husker fandom put such a heavy load on that this guy didn't think he could actually say, I'm not hiring this dude. He's not ready.
I would love to know who he wanted to hire instead.
He had something I think worked out.
Signetti.
With who? I mean,
I'm not.
This is great revisionist history.
No.
Like, let's see your list dated.
Hey, not me. I don't know.
Not you.
On,
I'm saying Moose. Let's see your list.
Right, of course, yeah.
Of top candidates that you wanted outside of Scott Frost.
Let's Google this. Let's see
who they.
I'm doing that.
Let's see.
Well, does he say in the book who he would have hired?
Yes, I think he does. Now, I will say this, that I would have hated that hire too. If it's who I'm thinking it is.
That's the point of being an AD is you make tough decisions.
I agree.
He made the wrong decision because no matter how this other coach did, we all would have second guessed and said, well, if you just hired Frost.
Says he wanted.
We would have been
AI
national
is
champions.
saying he wanted to hire Chip Kelly instead of Scott
My
Frost.
word, my gosh.
That's what he wanted.
If I hear Chip Kelly's name one more time associated with any position in
sports,
I
don't disagree with you.
The rest of time, I'm gonna barf.
I don't disagree with you.
Has anyone
Chip
ever
Kelly
been
was
more
different.
overrated?
Those are bad choices all around.
I don't disagree with you. It's not good.
You might as well. Basically, he's the equivalent of Callahan.
But listen, Chip Kelly in 2017 was still thought of differently than he is now. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying he was definitely thought of differently than he is now. So it shouldn't have been probably as crazy for him to bring it up.
Well,
I wouldn't have liked that choice.
It's the same branch of the tree. He was freaking Frost's mentor. So, what? So why wouldn't you be okay hiring Frost?
Okay,
Frost
just because Frost
undefeated.
hadn't been, and by the way, rightly pointed out, Frost still only has one winning season as a head coach.
Yeah, but he's back at the first year of UCF.
Yes, and they suck.
Yeah, I mean,
they had a signature win.
Against who?
I can't remember. They beat somebody that they weren't supposed to beat.
They won like 4 games.
It was one of those 4 then.
So why did Trev Alberts leave so quickly? Was it just money, or was it the same thing?
No.
Disorganized from the top down.
I know that there was a lot of pushback on Trev about the stadium. He wanted to redo that one end zone of the stadium that is struggling right now, structurally and everything else. And there was a lot of pushback about him doing it because it would have taken away a significant chunk of money to get it done, because it would have been torn down and most likely not available to use for at least one season, possibly 2, if I'm not mistaken.
They beat North Carolina. That's what I was thinking of.
That is North Carolina.
Who?
UCF beat North Carolina. At the time we didn't know that. It was only 3 games in.
Okay, so AI is literally saying Trev Alberts left his position as Nebraska athletic director in March 2024 for Texas A&M, driven by concerns over instability in the University of Nebraska's top leadership, including the lack of a permanent president and chancellor, along with political friction regarding state leadership. So he was seeking a more stable, well-resourced environment.
And who doesn't think of Texas as more stable?
Texas A&M.
I just mean the entire state.
I mean, they made it to the
playoffs.
I got to take the dog out, so maybe a sponsor.
Well, let me do a read. I'll do a read. Go take the dog out. So we also want to take a minute for a second, and while he takes his dog out, and thank our sponsor, Sarah Bryant Law, PLLC. Sarah provides experienced representation in criminal law and family law matters, including divorce, custody, and adoption. These are serious, life-changing situations, and having someone who truly cares about you and understands the stakes makes all the difference. Sarah takes the time to know her clients, listen to their story, and fight for the best possible outcome. If you need strong, compassionate legal representation in Central Kentucky, reach out to Sarah Bryant Law at PLLC. So yeah, he left for the same issue. I don't know if Rule feels like he's getting 100% support, but I mean, I know he does from the AD. I know he feels very good about Dannon and what Dannon's doing. And I think Dannon, I like him. Everything I've seen from him is spot on in terms of trying to be steady, stable, and with a growth mindset. Everything I've seen from him.
Well, and you got the other sports too that are killing. A lot of them are doing really well.
A lot of our sports are really well. Even our rifle team. I don't know if you guys knew that, but our freaking rifle team is supposed to win the national championship or something this year. And bowling is women's bowling is killing it. Wrestling is top 5.
What the competition is for the national title for the rifle team.
Who the other teams are?
No. What's the actual competition? Like, do you just have both teams standing on like opposite like plateaus,
shooting at each other?
Shooting each other, yeah, like Civil War times.
Yeah,
It's like a Civil War
they're
reenactment.
firing muskets.
Whoever's alive after they shoot at each other.
Yeah.
It's the last man standing.
Can you still shoot? Can you still shoot?
If you make it through, they honor your scholarship.
Yeah.
You gotta find all new teammates.
It's an expensive sport.
My goodness. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's any easy answer, but like I will die on the hill that until Husker fans fix themselves, this is going to continue to be an uphill struggle. And here's a major difference. In Indiana, because that's the team that we're comparing everybody to, right? That's the coach and the team is Indiana right now. Okay? He walks into a situation where they are and always have been garbage. He could have won 7 games his first year, and he would have been walking on water in that place.
I agree.
You know, he could have won 9 this year, and they would have treated him almost the way they are right now. Like, it's easier to come.
Frost leaving UCF was a bad idea.
What's that?
It's the same reason Scott Frost leaving UCF for Nebraska
Absolutely.
was a bad idea.
Absolutely.
He had the perfect setup in UCF.
Yeah. And he's claiming he didn't want to come to Nebraska. Like, everybody's like, and who forces them to think that they have to make that marriage happen?
His wife didn't want to come.
No, his wife definitely didn't want to. But who is the group of people who forces Scott Frost to think, I have to take this opportunity, and forces Bill Moose to go, like, I've got to hire him?
Well, who?
It's all of us as fans. It's Husker fans. We are the ones who forced that to happen, and now we're pissed that it didn't work, you know.
So
and
basically,
we can be pissed. I can say this. I think it's okay for Husker fans to be upset that maybe they didn't try to step out and just do it their way. But, like, I'm sorry, that's a hill I'll die on.
So you're saying that my existential funk is my own gosh dang fault?
No. I'm saying that when I go and sit in the stands at a Nebraska game and Husker fans react to everything with negativity, it drives me crazy.
I know. What they really should do is focus on getting some better gosh dang concessions in that dang stadium.
Well, that would help.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great.
And get rid of the freaking bathtub toilets, for crying out loud. I want some gosh dang privacy. I don't care if you used to whiz it out in the fields with all your ranch.
You're not a fan of the troughs?
No, I don't want to freaking be accidental sword play, for crying out loud. Like, jeez.
Hey.
What are you doing
You
out?
know what? You know
What are you
what?
doing out in the ranches, for crying out loud? If this is what you're used to,
Swing that thing in the other direction, pal.
you do that, you hit somebody else.
Who cares? As long as it's not me.
I just meant. Thought you were referring to like strangers. Yeah. Good gosh, man. Like, it's a beautiful stadium, and you still got a freaking steel basin as your.
I mean,
why not just dig a hole?
Let's
in the
be
ground?
honest. Memorial Stadium isn't that beautiful. Let's be honest.
Like
especially underneath it. Especially underneath it.
What? It's like
It's not a beautiful
Disneyland. You don't want to
stadium.
see what's underneath Disneyland. Like, who cares what's underneath? I mean, it's like
I'm
it's
just
a gorgeous
saying,
stadium. I think it's a gorgeous stadium.
Okay, think about where we sat against Michigan State. How did we get to those seats?
You picked them.
Okay, but that's like
I'm just kidding.
That's not the point. I'm saying,
Yes, those were-
how
Yeah, but
random
that's how
was that?
every stadium is.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not.
every stadium
Okay,
built in that
well-
time. I mean, Wrigley is.
we wouldn't have needed
incredible.
to see the underbelly if we didn't get those seats,
Fair enough.
which
Fair
I
enough.
don't blame you for at all. By the way, you're the one complained about it. I didn't
I'm not.
care. thought it was
You know
great.
what? I thought they were better than I
if we had
thought.
sat
I was a
right
little
behind the
concerned.
pole-
I was a little concerned when we first sat down because of the experience I had at Ohio State that it was going to be worse than it was, and it
Valid.
actually wasn't bad.
That's valid. That's valid.
You
It
know,
was perfect to be out of the sun, man. I was.
yeah,
so glad
and that
for
was nice. Like that was nice to get out to sun.
Yeah. Well,
Who in their right mind is going to watch this episode?
who isn't? I think everybody should.
Everybody
We had some
should.
really valid points.
I agree.
Yeah.
1000%.
I think that covering sports fan, angst and dissonance and
Depression.
and like.
Nebraska's
all of
going
our-
to go like 12-1 this coming season, and we're going to
be
feel
so
like
pissed about
garbage.
that one.
I don't know.
You effers lost to Iowa.
Well, okay.
What if they
But
did
everybody
go
was
12-1,
excited.
but they lose to Iowa?
That would be.
That would just be our luck, would it not?
That would suck.
Well,
that would suck.
I'll take it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, of course I would take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll deal
And
with
then I would
it.
find a way to set Iowa on fire.
Or do you want to be 1-12 and have that victory be against Iowa?
Yeah, I think that Husker fans would be happier about that than they would a 12-1 with the one loss.
That's
what
definitely
rivalry's all about. That's
definitely Ohio State fans. Like Ohio State fans would rather be 1-12 and beat Michigan than 12-1 and lose to them. Like
Which
legit.
I love the fact that they lost the year that they won the national championship
I know, right?
to Michigan.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious. So, yep.
right.
Well, I appreciate it, gentlemen. I don't know. I still love my sports and just going to keep on watching. So,
And you should.
The end.
the end. No, but I like this. I thought this was a great discussion tonight. So
I will say, after I learned the rules of curling, I got really into it the last few days of the Olympics.
Did you? Curling was cool. Like she she don't get it, but
I had it all wrong in my head. And when I actually sat down, I'm like,
It's just a different version of cornhole. Those are all the same kind of games. Lawn darts, lawn bowling, bocce ball. They're all the exact same kind of thing.
A little bit.
Same principle, I mean, overall.
Lawn darts. I'm not going to put lawn darts in the same, level.
You're trying to get the dart into the ring,
curling,
right? I
it's
just
lawn
mean
darts,
the
bro.
whole,
You don't see trout. If lawn darts becomes part of the summer games, we're at the
you're
end.
just going to call
Listen,
it
We're
lawn
at the
curling.
end.
can you get lower than
we're
having
at the
break
end.
dancing as part of the Summer Olympics?
Dude.
Can if you're
Can
Team
you- can you-
Australia.
That poor woman.
I know.
She is never
take it
ever
back.
going to live that down.
That poor woman is
poor
the Steve
woman.
Bartman of the Olympics.
Yes.
She probably didn't
Yeah.
even want to be there. I'm sorry, ma'am.
I
don't
hope
know
she
your
holds
name.
her head high. She can say she was an Olympian.
I was going to say, you are better than me. I'm just sitting at home on my keister.
Yeah, I mean, it was. She's just never gonna live that down. I still don't understand the scoring of it. But that's always been my frustration with
Breakdancing?
how you score it.
Well, clearly there's
It's
popping
irrelevant.
and
It's irrelevant. It's just.
You've got to score it
entertainment
somehow because
purposes.
somebody wins a gold and
Do
a
you
silver and a
understand
bronze.
Ice skating, ice dancing,
No,
scoring?
no, I don't.
Okay.
That's always
That's
been
why it's
one of my
stupid.
frustrations.
That's
The
why
only
it's freaking
reason
stupid.
that I will watch any figure skating is simply because they're athletic as hell to do the things they do. I don't
Well, what they should
understand
just do is just
the
have it be
scoring
an
of it
exhibition.
at all.
Just
I
let 'em go
can't
out
tell the
and
difference.
skate.
You could have the only way that I would know somebody was worse than somebody else is if they flat out fall. If they don't fall, I can't tell the difference. I don't know. You could have the worst performance and the best performance, and if that guy didn't fall, I don't know why he was worse than that guy. I just don't.
yeah, if you're a judge, you're praying that all but one of them fall, or
All but three of them. You need
It's
three of
it's
them
the
to not
same
fall.
with the big air skiing and all stuff. It's incredible. They're incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you
Incredible
give somebody
athletes.
a 93 and somebody else a 92.5?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's insane.
These guys are doing stuff and girls are doing stuff that is just mind blowing, and it's awesome to watch. But I don't know.
It's the same with the
Gold,
snowboarding,
silver,
the
bronze.
half pipe snowboarding thing. They come in, they drop in, go up, do a bunch of tricks, come back down. I'm like, dude, I couldn't
It's
even
all
come
about
close
how
to
they
doing that.
grab
I
the
can't even
speed.
stand on a snowboard. I get it. You're an amazing athlete, but I don't understand the scoring.
The snowboard cross, I love
That
somebody actually
is
has
awesome.
to finish first.
I
and second,
love
and third, and
snowboard
fourth.
cross.
Yes,
that
it's
stuff is
phenomenal.
wicked.
But it's
It
not
is.
subjective.
It's phenomenal.
It's
exactly.
you won. We watched you win.
Yes. Sports that
not
are
like some of the other
subjectively
stuff, like-
scored are the hardest ones for me to enjoy.
It's tough,
because I just can't get the scoring. If it's subjective, I don't get it. But I could watch tennis and appreciate
even
tennis
when you hear the guys
because
being stunned that somebody got a score higher or lower than somebody else based on what they just saw. These are freaking seasoned pros, and they're shocked, right?
Right.
That's when I'm like, okay, come on. Shouldn't it just be okay, that's what we expected based on what I just saw?
right.
But when the announcers, who are the most seasoned pros,
Yeah.
who are
People
veterans
who've
of the
won
sport,
medals
are
before.
surprised, it's okay, then how the frick am I supposed to understand like what's the outcome going to be based on what I just saw? Like, there's no way. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Off myself.
But see, I mean, that's me with all sports that are subjective. Like, I don't get it. Like, to me, I need competition to be head to head. Like, there's no ifs, ands, and buts. Like, I either get more points than you, or I go faster than you, or something. You know, like.
I mean, that's how figure skating is decided. One person gets more points than the
Well,
other.
okay, but it's not like.
I think he means.
I know, I'm just messing with it.
Yeah.
I'm just poking.
You used the word just a second ago, Andrew, and I'm trying to remember what it was, but you used it like in terms of describing the sports that I'm talking about. Like, you know, there's no, when we were talking about snowboard cross, you mentioned it. You said the word. Like, there's no, you know who wins when you get to the end of the race, you know. Yeah. So, and then they just run those heats, you know, and they start off with a bunch of them. They go in heats of 4. You finish in the top 2, you get into the next heat. Then you race, you know, 3 other people, and you go until you get down to the top 3 finishers, and there
Even
you go.
that would be different based on the heats that you run.
It could be, but it's not subjective.
Sure, that part is. The selection is.
Sure. Okay, but like when you actually get out there, like
I'm just being.
You've actually got a race.
Don't get sucked in, Aaron. He's just baiting you.
I know. He's been able to do that to me my whole life, and I never notice it. I never notice it until I'm halfway down, like he's got me, and I'm like, ooh, I want to say something, you know, because he's got me, you know.
I don't do that.
Darn you!
I'm just messing around.
No, because I know you're just messing around. Like, I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying, like, you're able to, because you get me with the comments too, the little jokes about stuff, you know, like where you're not just baiting me, you just say something, like I say something, and then you come up with something funnier to play off of what I do. You get me with that all the time, and I never think of a thing. Like, I literally, no jokes come to mind ever. So I'm just like, I couldn't even defend myself while I was riding the ski lift down Snowbird this year. My fiance had to do it for me. So, you know.
That is a pretty embarrassing
story. Did I not tell you that story?
Oh, yeah. I would not repeat it. It is.
What are you talking about? It was awesome.
Humiliating. Very humiliating for you as a man. I'm just kidding.
I gotta let my dog in.
All right. Well, all right.
That's our cue to go.
Yes, that's our cue to go. I'm going to read this.
That's the outro.
I don't
know.
I
got to let the dog out.
I don't even have a dog, guys. That's just the excuse I use to end the podcast.
I got to feed the fish.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up tonight, we want to thank our sponsor once again, Sarah Bryant Law, PLLC. Whether you need help with wills and estate planning, probate matters, criminal defense, family law issues like custody or divorce, or civil litigation, Sarah Bryant is committed to serving her clients with care, integrity, and strength. She doesn't just handle cases. She gets to know you, understands what matters to you, and works tirelessly to protect your future. If you're in Central Kentucky and need legal help from someone who genuinely cares about your case and your life, contact Sarah Bryant Law, PLLC. Hopefully, we will see you all in a couple of weeks. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Okay. See you guys.